Today's lesson is 5.4, using mental math to multiply. The objective for today is that you will be able to use other strategies to help you multiply mentally. In our previous lesson, we talked about using the breaking apart method to multiply our numbers. Today, we're going to be talking about compensation. Compensation we have used before with addition. Today, it's going to be a little different because we will be compensating within multiplication. The first problem we are going to look at today says you ride your bike 27 miles each week. What multiplication sentence can you write to represent the number of miles that you ride in 3 weeks? So the first part of this problem isn't even asking us to solve it, yet it's asking us to write the multiplication sentence. Well, if every week we ride 27 miles, I'm trying to figure out the total in 3 weeks. So I would multiply 27 times 3. The next part of the question says, how can you multiply mentally to find the product? A lot of times we look at problems like 27 times 3, and we know that we're going to have to do some extra multiplying there. But we can also look at this and try to come up with an easier number that we could multiply. I look at this and I see that 27 is really close to 30. And I know, based on some of the other multiplication lessons I've done, that 30 times 3 is a lot easier to multiply in my head than 27 times 3 is. And this is what we're going to work with today as we talk about compensation. So in your notes, go ahead and write down this problem with the word compensation. Within compensation, we will choose numbers close to the numbers in the problem to make solving the problem easier. So in this first one, like I said, we have 3 times 27 to start. We will then multiply 3 times 30, which will give us the answer of 90. Now, how did you get from 27 to 30? We had to add 3. But what's really important is to remember that in this problem, I have to multiply. So when I just add 3 to get from 27 to 30, I'm actually multiplying an extra 3 groups of 3. Too many, so I have to make sure I subtract the right amount back from the end. So 3 times 27, again, to get from 27 to 30, I add 3. But I have to look at what number I was actually multiplying here. So 3 times the 3, which is what gave me 9. So in the end, I actually do have to subtract out 9, not just 3. So my final answer would give me 81. I know compensation can be complicated at first, but don't give up yet because we're going to do some practicing and it's going to get easier, I promise. Now, we're going to try this one. So 29 times 4. So, again, 29 is really close to 30. So instead of doing 29 times 4, I'm rounding up and I'm going to 30. So 30 times 4, well, 3 times 4 gives me that 12. I put my 0 on the end. But it's important that I still am looking for my real answer. I went up 1 from 29 to 30, which means I went up one group of whatever it is I'm multiplying here. This is the part that's really hard to remember, is that because I went up 1, but I multiplied 30 times 4, so I actually went up one group of 4. When you hear me say words like one group of, that's usually your sign that I'm talking about multiplication. So 4 times 1, which gives me 4. So I have to remember that in the end, I have to subtract out 4. So 120 minus 4 gives me that final answer of 116. We're going to take a look at some guided practice problems right now. On number 1, it says to use compensation to find each product mentally. Well, I'm going to start with number 1, and we're going to do this one together. We're going to do it 33 times 4. This is the original problem that we're starting with. But this time, I'm noticing that 33, it's really close to 30, which means I subtracted 3. So 30 times 4. 3 times 4 gives me 12. Put my 0 on the end. But on this one, I subtracted 3 groups of 4, so I have to then make sure whatever I did in the beginning, I have to add those numbers back in, because I didn't actually multiply enough this time, so I'm going to have to add my 12 back in, okay, giving me, not right there, plus 12, giving me 132. Let's try another example. Let's look at number 2. 9 times 83. Now, on this problem, I have 83, which I see it's really close to saying 9 times 80. When I go to multiply this one, I'll do my basic facts of 9 times 8, which gives me 72, and then I bring that 0 back on the end. But I'm not done, because on this one, I went from 83 to 80. So again, I did not multiply enough here, so I have to make sure I add something back in. So I have to do 3, but not just 3. It's 3 groups of whatever number I'm multiplying by. So I'll do 3 times 9, which I know is 27. So I'm going to add them back in to get my final answer of 747. Now, I would like you to try. I want you to try number 3 and number 4 in your notes. Do your best. Don't give up. I know it's hard, but you can do it.